Before we get into today's video, I wanted to quickly thank the sponsor, BetterHelp. I have worked with BetterHelp before, and I've even worked with a therapist from BetterHelp themselves. This therapist was able to give me tools to help me with my anxiety, stress, and even difficulties with sleep. Now is as good a time as any. The new year is a blank space for you to write a new story. BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. Fill out a questionnaire, and you will match with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy more comfortable and convenient. Connect with a therapist from our diverse network of 30,000 licensed professionals with a wide range of specialties and backgrounds. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost if it doesn't feel like the right fit. BetterHelp carefully makes sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. As you can see, I myself am starting with a very new routine. It's using bits and pieces of things that I've realized were really helpful for me and my mental health throughout the last couple of years, and some tools and stuff that I've read and tools that I've continued to carry over from my few months with a therapist with BetterHelp. I use this checkbox basically every day. I have this list of 7 or 8 goals that I want to achieve every day, and I will check off that box or put a magnet in it on the whiteboard, as you will see. And that's how I've been kind of tackling, my new goals for the year. Start fresh any day of the year with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/Aaron and you get 10% off your first month. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, I've been waking up pretty consistently around like 6 a.m., sometimes a little bit earlier, maybe around 6:30, but this is something that I've been kind of working on for a while now. It's something that I really have noticed makes me feel really good, and I like to be up before the sun for some reasons that I'll get into later, but I'll just go ahead and, take a shower, get ready, get my day ready, and then start my skincare, which is kind of like one of my favorite things of the day. It's just a nice little space out routine, and then get dressed, get ready. Skincare is kind of something that I wouldn't say I'm an expert at, but I've done a good bit of research. And again, skincare is not just what you put on your face. It's not just the external approach. It's also going to be a lot of internal, so like diet, sleep, and making sure that you're kind of treating your body right. And that includes getting enough water. So, as you saw, I, drink water first thing in the morning, finish up the glass of water that I poured the night before. And then that jug that you'll see there is actually what I fill up and make myself drink throughout the day. And so, of course, making the bed, because they say that, accomplishing a task first thing in the day is one of the best things that you can do for your just for mental space. So obviously go ahead and throw that in there. Plus, I'm kind of crazy OCD, and I live in a studio apartment. It's not like it's massive, so keeping everything kind of clean makes appealing to the eyes. And like I said, this giant green jug here, it's about 134 ounces of water. If you didn't know, you really do want to drink about 0.5 ounces of water per pound. So, do the math. I'm about 200 pounds, so I want at least 100. But I am a large dude, and I don't sit still, and I work out a good bit, and I go for walks all day, and I sweat a lot. So I probably get closer to about 150 for me. And then, as you can see here, one of my New Year's goals is actually to get rid of caffeine. So this is not regular coffee, this is decaf coffee, and I put in just a little bit of soy milk, and of course cinnamon. Cinnamon is medicine. It's really helpful for inflammation and antioxidant benefits and all sorts of other things that are really good for your body and your cells. This is another one of my favorite parts of my routine. Again, so I have been really trying to learn and understand myself and how to journal, and it's really helps you just kind of get your thoughts out, and then instead of thinking about them from an emotional standpoint, you can kind of think about them from, with reasoning instead of just emotion. And one tool that I've used is, so Young Pueblo, he's one of my favorite poets and authors, and he has these 3 beautiful poetry books. The one that I'm currently journaling with right now is called The Way Forward. And what I like to do is read these poems. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post a few of these like every week. I just think they're really motivating and beautiful, and they connect and resonate with me a lot. But I like to read them and then kind of underline the parts that really resonate with me, but then also jotting notes down next to it that I feel, that poem made me feel and that I want to express and just write about. Meditation is another one of the goals that I have been looking to approach and improve on. It's been this one and the no eating after 8 have been the 2 that have been the most difficult for me, because I don't know why it's so hard for me to just sit still and sit down, but this is one of the benefits of meditation. So I usually try to meditate for 10 to 20 minutes in the morning, and as you can see, this is that kind of checkbox that I was talking about there. And whenever I accomplish something, I want to have like a visual reward for myself, so it just makes it kind of easy to keep me accountable. But meditation is super important, like I said, because it not only is good for you to help relax, but it teaches your brain how to, instead of habitually going to stressful thoughts and overthinking, it's just going to allow you to be very present and mindful and just kind of put your mind at ease. And so after that, I'll work for, 30, 45 minutes or until the sun comes up. And then another really great benefit of, waking up before the sun is that you kind of get to go for a walk first thing in the morning. And I like to go for 3 10-minute walks throughout my day at a minimum. I usually do those, like I said, first thing in the morning when the sun comes up. Another one around like right after I eat lunch, and then I'll try to go either before or after dinner. Usually it's before, because by after dinner it's kind of dark and Chicago is freezing cold, but when it warms back up, I'll start getting out there a little bit more, because it's really good for you to walk around and to help you digest your food and all that stuff. But another benefit of walking first thing in the morning, within the first hour actually, you want to go get some sunlight, because your eyes, they take in that sunlight. And some science here for you: it sends it through your optic nerves to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is what sits right behind where your visual or your optic nerves cross, and that's what sends this signal for melatonin to be produced or shut off. So in the morning, first thing, when you go and get about 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight, it kind of helps set and regulate your circadian rhythm. So that is one of the really, really great benefits of it. And that, of course, is going to help with your energy all day and your sleep all day. And then you also get, the added benefits of some sunlight first thing on the morning on your skin. So it's not high UV index, it's not very damaging sunlight, but it is still, you get vitamin D and all of that, wonderful stuff that the sun can give us without worrying about, the damage. And as you can see here, I live in Chicago, Illinois now. If you did not know that, I basically moved right downtown. I'm in the thick of it. This is Michigan Avenue, actually, and it's kind of like the tourist capital of Chicago, and I absolutely love that. I love seeing the happy faces, the energetic faces every single morning. It's just kind of brings me a lot of life and a lot of light and energy into my day. And like, even when it's dark and gloomy, especially, when it's cold and in those winter months, whenever the sun's not out too much, it's kind of nice to see all these beautiful buildings and these beautiful lights and people. And this is really like a dream come true to live here. And it's just made me want to, explore the city even more and explore so much more about Chicago. And I moved here to the city of Chicago about 3 months ago. I think I moved about September 16th is whenever I moved here. And also look at that view. That building right there with those curves is by a really famous female design architecture, actually, and it's one of the most famous buildings here in Chicago. But yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, this is incredible. I live about, a 10-minute walk away from pretty much the primary tourist places that you'd want to visit in Chicago. That tree down there, it is Christmas time, early January, whenever I was filming this, and so it still has all of the beautiful Christmas decorations up. This is that famous tree here in Chicago that they do the lighting, and then this is Millennium Park. So they have this really cute ice skating rink that'll be up for probably a couple more months, because like I said, it's absolutely freezing here in Chicago, and I am sure that they will want to keep that up as long as possible for people to enjoy. And then there's also this really beautiful just artwork and art placement here. I'm not really sure what these faces are meant to represent, but they're really very interesting, and they're here all year round. And I don't know if you get to like submit your face to this that artist, and he kind of like selects which ones go up, or if it's those same faces all year round. But yeah, I get to walk around here a lot. As you can see, there's not a lot of people here, and that is very rare, just to not have, hundreds or even thousands of people in Millennium Park, because like I said, this is where all of the tourists are coming to see for this reason right here, the bean, the Chicago bean, and I have never in my life seen it this empty, so I'm so happy that I made sure to come here and just look how absolutely beautiful it is. You can see the reflections of all of the buildings, and seeing that circle of snow around it is like, genuinely, it feels so special and so magical. And it really does make me feel so lucky to, I've had the opportunity to move out of my home state of Missouri and live in one of the biggest and beautiful cities in the world. So let's just take that in. It's absolutely beautiful. And now it's time to, get back home and get to work. And so I'll work for, 20 to 30 minutes. I like to, or maybe an hour or so. I don't remember what time I got back from my walk, but I like to try to do a fasting window of 14 hours. So basically 14 hours between my last meal and my first meal. So it's about 10 a.m. here. I've since kind of adjusted it because I want to do more of a 9 a.m. breakfast, because I get kind of low energy and a little bit cranky whenever I'm forcing myself not to eat until 10. But this is basically the breakfast that I make every single morning. It's a very special, I say it's very special, but it's a version of avocado toast. And then, of course, some sweet potatoes, which are a superfood. But my avocado toast is a little bit, full. You get your special seasonings. I need a little bit of iodine because I don't get it in my diet, as I'm mostly vegan, vegetarian, but I just don't eat plant or animal-based foods or proteins. But I do, of course, turmeric, garlic powder, cumin, pepper, a little bit of iodized salt, and then I throw in a mix of a bunch of seeds: sunflower, pumpkin, chia, flax, basil seeds, a whole bunch of those, and then some chopped up cherry tomatoes and bell peppers. And then, of course, I want to put in a little bit of spinach, and usually I'll top it off with arugula, but I didn't have any, so I just threw on a little bit more spinach, because it's good to get my greens in any way that I can. And then I like a tiny little bit of spice, so just some Cholula and this balsamic vinegar. I don't know if I need to sell this or what, but it is a perfect mix of food, and I could not be more like in love with avocado toast, but also just the way that I make it and the breakfast that I have. Super, super happy. And then after that, so another one of my goals that I have is to try to get in, 100 push-ups a day. And it's also good to just, like I said, kind of spread out your activity. It's not the best for your body if you were to basically just sit for 22 hours and then go work super hard at the gym for 2 hours. That's not really how your body is designed. It's designed to work throughout the day. So I set an alarm starting at 9 a.m. All the way to 3 p.m. and it goes off every hour and a half and just reminds me to do 20 push-ups and then drink a glass of water. As I said, it's also good to hydrate throughout the day. So filling up this jug just kind of reminds me of what I need to do by the end of the day, what I want and need to get done. And this might all seem like it's absolutely just too much to handle, but that's why I set myself lots of reminders and lots of just spread all of it throughout the day. It's good to kind of this stuff is more of a way to get out of the monotony of working. Otherwise, I would just be sitting down on my computer or reading and doing research all day, and that is not fun to me. So that's why another thing I like to do is throw on a fun little outfit just for the day to have fun with it, and then I go to a local coffee shop or a local just bookstore or cafe that I can work at and just kind of focus a little bit better, because it's hard to be home all day every day, especially like I said, since I live in a little studio apartment. But this coffee shop here is actually the Starbucks roastery. It's one of the biggest, it might be the biggest Starbucks. I think it's their, what do you call it, headquarters. I think it's the Starbucks headquarters, quote unquote. And of course, again, I just got a decaf coffee. I definitely do not come here much because this decaf coffee was $8, and I would rather just make decaf coffee at home for $1. So I will sit here and just kind of work for a couple more hours until lunchtime, and then I'll head back home and try to get in a healthy lunch as well. And again, I don't really want to pay or have the ability to, eat out every single day, and it doesn't feel very good either. So it does take a little bit of preparation, but I meal prep once or twice a week. It's not really I separate everything into just its own little boxes, because I think that's kind of boring and things blend together and it gets kind of gross. So I kind of just pre-make my bases. So you saw, there's pasta. Sometimes I'll do basically Chipotle bowls, and then I just kind of make different veggies, or whether I want them raw, whether I want them stir-fried or specific flavor, and then I re-season it. I add just a little bit more flavor to all of them, so it's it's not boring. It's not something that I feel I'm ever gonna get tired of, and so I just like to mix it up, and I do it by just pre-making my bases basically, and then once again just kind of working for a little bit longer until it's about 3, 4, 5 p.m. depending. I like to try to get there at least around 4:30 at the latest, just because the whole crowd gets in there at 5, and then you can't get in to very many machines. Luckily, the way that I work out and the exercises that I do not really require many of these popular machines. They're mostly dumbbell and body weight things, so it's not I'm really ever having to compete with anybody else for a machine or equipment or anything like that. But I want to clarify, I am not somebody that likes the gym. I'm not a meathead or a gym bro by any means. I try to get in and get out as quick as possible, but I also recognize that exercise is one of the most important things for you and for your body and for your health and your happiness and all that stuff. So I go into the gym at least an hour a day. I focus, I don't get on my phone, I don't distract myself, but I really put in work, and I exercise at about a heart rate of 130 for at least, like I said, an hour to usually an hour 15 at most. And then I'll do the sauna afterwards, because that heat exposure and that intentional stress is also really, really great for your body. And then afterwards, I'm going to go home here and make one of the most elaborate smoothies that you'll probably ever see, but it is so worth it to me because I like to get in a large variety of food because I don't really feel like I eat that much. I know it might look like I am, but for the amount of exercise that I do and move, I don't count calories. I think that's really bad. It's like psychological way to approach your food. I just try to listen to my body, and I try to get a really well balanced diet that adds in a bunch of fruit, a bunch of veggies, because like I said, that's my primary thing. I don't eat animal proteins outside of what you see. I do a little bit of Greek yogurt because the live cultures are really helpful for your stomach microbiome, and then there is a little bit of protein in there as well that I find worth it to add in. And again, I add lots of greens, lots of spinach, lots of oats, lots of seeds. That's how I get a lot of my protein, are these whole grains, these seeds, and these nuts that I snack on throughout the day. And then I add in all these spices and little things that are basically like medicine. Lots of cinnamon, lots of ginger, a little bit of honey, a little bit of goji powder, a little bit of wheat germ, all that stuff. And then, of course, you want to get in, fruits. Your berries are your biggest friend. It's like the best type of fruit for you with I also do like cocoa powder, and I do a tiny bit of soy protein powder. I don't do a lot. I'm not somebody that does supplements because I'd rather just get my nutrients from the food, like real food itself. But like I said, these berry mix, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries are your absolute, you can't get enough of them. Their sugar to fiber content is really great. It kind of cancels out the sugar itself. But the antioxidant benefits, for your skin, for your health, for your cells, couldn't recommend enough. You should eat those every single day. Plus, they're absolutely delicious, so you're not missing out. And then I like to take advantage of how hungry I am after the gym and get in some raw veggies or some sort of a snack like that. And so here, just like I said, bell peppers, some celery. I do vegan ranch with a little bit of garlic powder and some salt, just to add a little bit more flavor. And then I'll try to just relax and do a little bit more work to finish up the day. And then it's time to shower, shave, clean up, do a tiny little bit of some skincare. Like I said, kind of clean off the sweat and the work from the day, and just kind of try to relax and mentally space out. That's why it might seem like I have a pretty extensive morning and evening routine when it comes to, how I wind down, but it's really just to set me up for success and to have a really productive day, before and after. I want to get myself ready for the next day, and while also getting ready in the morning to really have a really great day. Because I'm in a space in my life where I have a good bit of energy, and I want to use that energy to give myself more energy later in life. That might not, if that doesn't make sense, it's basically like kind of what you put in now is what you're going to get out in every single regard. So I just want to make my body as fully functional and as optimal as possible while I can. And I didn't have the best habits and lifestyle growing up just because we didn't really know any better. So it's become one of my passions, as I talk about a lot. Health and wellness is really one of my biggest passions. And so that's kind of like why I center my day around that. And it's really worth it because it makes, all the highs extremely high instead of having any lows. And it lets me enjoy the rest of my time a lot, and I've actually come to really just enjoy the process of taking care of myself and my body and every single day. And so I finish up with a somewhat light dinner. I made a black bean burger for the first time. It was homemade. It's absolutely delicious. I'll be making that all the time, and then of course just eating a couple beets, and then I will relax and just stretch out. And I do a stretch routine right before bed, usually every day. That's another one of my goals because I am a little bit of a big dude. I'm pretty tall, and so if I don't stretch, my body is not going to feel very good later in life. So I do all I can to, use it or lose it. And so this is a pretty consistent stretch routine. A lot of it focuses around my hips and my back because those are what cause me the most, struggle and the most trouble. But after I stretch for a little bit, it's really time to wind down and back to kind of doing what I do for journaling. I have, like I said at the beginning of the day, I like to have those prompted poems to kind of get me thinking about what I want to do and where I want to focus, or just kind of give me ideas to focus my thoughts. And then at the end of the day, I get to just put all of my thoughts down into one page. And so what that does is, like I said in the beginning, it helps remove any emotion behind any stress or thoughts that you had throughout the day, and allows you to just write it down and look at it in a very reasonable approach instead of emotional. And I also always write 3 things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day, because a mindset of gratitude is important, not just because of the cliche of be grateful, but if you're focusing on all the negatives, then it's really hard to, be high energy and be positive. And then I simply just read 1 chapter of a book, and then it's kind of time for bed. And so that's really my whole routine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.